All right, today we're going to tear into a really fascinating equity research report. It's all about a company called Ondas Holdings, which is tackling one of the most urgent and newest challenges in global security, the rise of the drone.
So let's just kick things off with a question that gets right to the heart of this whole thing. I mean, think about it. Can a cheap, commercial-grade drone, the kind of thing you could almost just buy online, really take out a state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar battle tank?
You know, as we've seen in recent conflicts, everywhere from Ukraine to the Middle East, the answer is a shocking yes, it can. And this new reality, well, it's creating a massive problem that is completely upending military strategy and defense spending all around the globe.
And that brings us to the fundamental challenge that a company like Ondas is trying to solve. It's a concept that the experts call cost asymmetry.
So what is an asymmetric threat? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when low-cost, super easy-to-get technology, like those FPV drones you see all over the news, can inflict just devastating damage on incredibly expensive military assets. It's a complete and total mismatch between the cost of the attack and the cost of defense.
Let me break down the core economic problem for you, because this is really the whole story. To stop one single drone that costs less than $500, traditional air defense systems are firing interceptor missiles that can cost anywhere from $50,000 to over $3 million each. I mean, that cost-exchange ratio is it's completely unsustainable. You can't possibly afford to defend yourself when the enemy's bullets cost pennies and your shield costs millions. This creates this huge, urgent need for a much smarter, more cost-effective solution.
Okay, so this is where Ondas Holdings enters the picture. The report argues their strategy isn't just to build a better drone catcher. No, it's to create a complete integrated defense system, and they've done it by buying up a series of strategic companies.
Their core idea is something the report calls a system of systems. So instead of just selling you a standalone product like a radar over here or a jammer over there, Ondas has acquired all the pieces to offer a full end-to-end solution, from the second a threat is detected all the way to neutralization.
And their process, it works kind of like a three-step escalation ladder. It's really clever. First, you have the eyes. That's the Optimus drone, providing constant surveillance, always watching. Once it spots a threat, the brain kicks in. That's the centric system, and it tries to hack and take over the enemy drone. But if that doesn't work, then the muscle gets deployed. The Iron Drone Raider launches to physically go out and capture the threat with a net. It's a complete detect, hack, and capture sequence.
Now let's look at the specific technology that the report says is Ondas' real secret sauce, its key competitive advantage. See, it's not just that they have these layers, it's how one of them works that really matters.
Here is the crucial difference, so pay attention. The old way to stop a drone is jamming, basically just blasting out a powerful radio signal. The problem with that is it's a brute force approach. It's like a fire hose of electronic noise that also takes down Wi-Fi, GPS, and even emergency communications. Centrix, the brain of the Ondas system, does something completely different. It actually listens to the specific language the drone and its controller are speaking, and then it surgically injects its own commands to take it over. This means zero collateral damage, which, you can imagine, is a total game changer for protecting civilian infrastructure like airports, where you absolutely cannot afford to jam everything.
And this technical advantage is getting a huge boost from major regulatory shifts. The FAA is moving to normalize autonomous drone flights, which is an area where Ondas has a big head start. But the really big one, the one to watch, is compliance with the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA. This has effectively banned Chinese drones, like those from the market leader DJI, for any kind of government use. And since Ondas' systems are certified and ready to go, they are in a prime position to capture all that market share that Chinese makers are now locked out of.
Okay, let's switch gears and turn to the financial side of the report. The analysis argues that Ondas just hit a massive inflection point. We're talking about a moment where its growth trajectory just completely changed.
The first piece of evidence is, it's just staggering revenue growth. In the third quarter of 2025, revenue exploded by 582% year over year. And what's really crucial here is that this growth came almost entirely from their new autonomous systems division. This is the proof in the pudding that their big bet on counter-drones is really starting to pay off.
The second piece, and honestly, maybe the most important, is the cash. In October 2025, Ondas raised a huge amount of capital, bringing their cash on hand to over $840 million. The report calls this a fortress balance sheet. What that really means is it removes the risk of them running out of money, and it gives them the war chest to compete for the huge multi-year government contracts.
And guess what? They're already winning exactly those kinds of contracts. The report highlights a recent win to build a national border protection system that's going to involve thousands of drones. The estimated value of that one single contract is over $100 million. That's the kind of scale we're talking about now.
But of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. The report is very clear about balancing this incredible growth potential with some pretty significant risks. You have to look at both sides.
So here are the big 4 risks to keep in mind. First, you've got integration risk. Can they actually pull off merging these different companies they bought from the US and Israel? Second, geopolitical risk. A lot of their key tech is based in Israel. Third, regulatory risk. That's surgical hacking tech, still in a bit of a legal gray area for civilian use here in the US. And finally, dilution risk. Raising all that cash meant they issued a ton of new shares, which could weigh on the stock price down the road. So after weighing all the pros and all the cons, what's the final verdict? Well, the report issues a buy rating, but, and this is important, they explicitly label it as high risk. They see the stock as a leverage play on this global trend of rearming against drone threats, and they've assigned a 12-month price target of $13.50. Now, I have to be super clear, this is the analyst's opinion. This is not investment advice.
So, to wrap it all up, the report leaves us with 3 key things to keep an eye on going forward. First, will the official purchase orders for that massive border contract actually come through as expected? Second, in their next earnings report, will we see their profit margins improve as they scale up? And finally, will new U.S. legislation get passed that fully unlocks the entire civilian market for their Centrix technology?
You know, these are the big questions that are going to determine if Ondas can actually deliver on its really ambitious plan. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Are we looking at the company that's going to define the future of how we protect our airports, our power plants, our stadiums, all of our critical infrastructure from this brand new threat from above? It's a fascinating question, and one we'll be watching very closely. Thanks for joining me.